In order to win the war, Nazi Germany secretly developed atomic bombs during World War II. One of the key materials for producing atomic bombs is heavy water, which is used as a neutron moderator in nuclear reactors. The Vemork chemical plant in Norway was the only factory in the world at that time capable of mass-producing heavy water. After Norway fell, the factory was controlled by Nazi Germany. If Germany had developed nuclear weapons, the consequences would have been unimaginable. To slow down Germany's research on nuclear weapons, Britain was determined to strike and destroy the Vemork chemical plant. In the late night of October 24, 1942, the British Special Operations Executive dispatched a team of 4 Norwegians to parachute into the wilderness near the factory. Their mission was to lie low, reconnoiter routes for the subsequent commando unit, collect intelligence, find a suitable drop zone, and set up a radio beacon to guide the airborne operation. On November 19, 1942, Britain sent 2 bombers towing gliders to take off from the northernmost airport in Scotland. Each glider carried 16 British commandos plus a pilot, planning to land at the landing site opened up by the Swallow team. However, shortly after, the British Special Operations Command lost contact with the 2 gliders. One bomber had a problem with its onboard equipment and could not receive the signal from the radio beacon. It then got lost, and the rope towing the glider broke. The bomber crashed, and the glider was forced to land. The other bomber unfortunately crashed into a mountain and was destroyed, and the glider was forced to make an emergency landing. The survivors attracted the attention of the German army because of the plane crash, and they were captured and executed by the German army. The first operation failed, and Germany increased more guards and landmines to defend the factory. Learning from the failure of the first operation, the Gunnerside operation was launched in 1943. On February 16, 1943, 6 members of the Norwegian Special Forces successfully parachuted. The target was changed from completely destroying the chemical plant to destroying the high-concentration electrolytic cells and the stored heavy water tanks. After landing and after a period of time, they joined forces with the 4 members of the Swallow team, and together with Tronstad, a total of 11 people formed the commando unit to launch the raid. Before the operation, each team member carried 2 potassium chloride tablets, meaning that if the operation failed, they must not be captured alive by the German army. Once captured alive, the entire plan might be exposed to the German army, making future raid plans more difficult and possibly accelerating Germany's attention to and research on nuclear weapons. Before reaching the canyon, the commandos had to cross a glacial river. After crossing the river, they arrived at a cliff about 300 meters high. The German army had deployed alarms on it, and the commandos climbed without touching these alarms. They sneaked into the factory with heavy equipment on their backs. With accurate intelligence and the help of Norwegian resistance fighters inside the factory, they successfully placed the explosives and completely destroyed the core of the factory, the heavy water concentration workshop, and the stored heavy water tanks. After completing the mission, the commandos successfully dispersed and evacuated, with no casualties in the entire operation. More than 3,000 German soldiers launched a manhunt for them but failed. After the attack on the factory, the German army stepped up its vigilance, making ground raids impossible. The United States dispatched 173 bombers on November 16, 1943, which bombed the power station, water supply, and many other industrial facilities, causing casualties among some Norwegians. In 1944, the Germans decided to transport the remaining heavy water and production equipment back to Germany. The Allied forces took action again. On February 20, 1944, the Norwegian resistance organization secretly placed explosives on the bow of the ferry Hydro, which was carrying the last batch of heavy water equipment and raw materials, successfully blowing it up and sinking it to the bottom of the lake, completely ending the possibility of the Nazis obtaining heavy water from Norway.